What's going on guys, it's Unknown Player here, and in this video we'll be taking an in-detail look at the two new strikes coming in the April update and everything we know so far about them, such as bosses, the rewards and some of the things involved with these strikes. So the first one we're going to talk about is the Blighted Chalice strike, in which the boss is of course Malok. The description reads, a blight of Taken now roost in the Hellmouth. Unchecked, they could refocus the darkness within and descend on the city. So essentially, someone is rallying some more Taken together and trying to get them a lot more powerful. That guy is Malok, who we're going to be fighting. We can see some video clips of the fight with Malok and also some images that seem to take place in the Shrine of Oryx room, and that is where the final encounter of the Blighted Chalice strike will take place. So that is where the boss fight will be, and it actually makes sense Grimoire-wise because Bungie have teased this to us for quite a long time. Any mention of Malok in the Grimoire cards actually stated that he used to pay regular visits to the Shrines of Oryx, and he spent a lot of time around them, so it is definitely fitting that we're going to be fighting him in the Shrine of Oryx. So that is a little thing that Bungie have hidden to us for a long time, and it kind of hinted that we would be fighting this guy in the Shrine of Oryx. Now, of course, there are going to be some kind of mechanics involved with the fight. And we can see in his room, there appears to be these Taken zones of like this Taken essence stuff all over the floor and those round spots you can see. So you can probably assume that is to do with the mechanic, and it's going to be something to make you keep on your feet and make sure you're not camping. And this room is probably going to get quite intense. It's quite a small room. It's like a very round but very small area to actually fight in. So it's probably going to get quite intense. And especially seeing as how aggressive the Taken can be sometimes, I'm imagining this strike and especially this end room is going to be pretty crowded towards the end. Now, there's something I noticed about this strike which is actually pretty interesting, and it's to do with how Bungie have teased this strike and the direction of it a very long time ago. In the December update, they introduced 4 brand new ghost shells into the game, and they didn't explain it, it was just a random addition they put into the game. But they put in 4 brand new dead ghost shells that you can collect around the Hellmouth, and nobody thought too much of it at the time. They were just some brand new ghost shells, but it turns out one of them was actually describing Malok in the Hellmouth, and it was describing his existence being there. It was a stranger talking about how she found him and how she's observing him, and it was actually Malok being in the Hellmouth, and the ghost shells were pretty much a hint towards it. Now, not only that, but the order the ghost shells appear in are a direct path towards the actual strike, which is pretty interesting. They seem to start in Fogoth's room, as you can see right here. That's where one of them can be found, and then another one can be found directly above where Fogoth is actually chained up, like in the structure above him. That's where a second one can be found. And then if you go out of the room, another one can be found just in the outside area in one of the chandeliers, and the final one can be found around this area just as you go into the Shrine of Oryx. So it's a direct path leading from Fogoth's room directly to the Shrine of Oryx, so it's the same path as these strikes. So it's kind of like Bungie leading this mini trail of ghost shells in the same direction as this new strike that we're going to be getting, which I thought was pretty interesting, and it matches up exactly the same footage we got in the teaser trailer, which shows the Guardians leaving Fogoth's room and going out towards the Hellmouth, and you can see them fighting in the middle areas, and they finish, of course, in the Shrine of Oryx when they're fighting Malok. Now, that is everything we know about the Blighted Chalice strike, but of course there's also the second strike we're getting in the April update, which is the Taken version of the Winter's Run strike. Now, this is the first time they've actually taken a strike completely, which is pretty interesting for them to do. Like, normally they just scale up the numbers, they maybe add a Taken wave before the boss itself, but this is the first time they've just directly taken a boss and made him Taken, which is pretty strange for them to do, and it doesn't exactly fit up with the story. I mean, technically we killed Aksor a very long time ago in Vanilla Destiny, so it doesn't exactly match up that we're now fighting a Taken version of him, and it's pretty strange that it's kind of like goes in an alternate timeline where the Taken have infected the Prison of Elders, where Aksor's cell of course was, and the House of Winter broke his cell out and they took him to Venus, where we're now going to fight the Taken version of Aksor. So it's pretty interesting, and I wonder if they're going to do that again and have us fight some other Taken version of bosses. But I thought it was a pretty strange thing for them to do, and it doesn't exactly fit up with the story. It's almost like an alternate timeline where we didn't kill Aksor, and instead we're facing this Taken version of him. Now, of course, this strike is going to be pretty much the same as it was before, but of course with Taken reinforcements in it, and they've said that he's got some new tricks up his sleeve, so the boss of Taken Aksor is going to be slightly different. He's going to have some new mechanics. Of course, his shrapnel launcher now does arc damage. That's the difference. It did before do solar damage, but now it's going to be Taken, so of course he does arc damage, and there's going to be some slight changes like that. But I really do miss this strike, and I really hope they bring back all the others like the Nexus Mind and Sephix Prime and Fogoth. I really do miss those strikes, and they remind me of playing Destiny back at the launch of September 2014. They're really simple, and I feel like they've just been left behind. I would love to play them again, but I feel like the reason Bungie doesn't want us to have them is because they are really simple. I think that's the problem, is because they're bullet sponges, and like I've said before, Bungie didn't really want to have bullet sponge bosses. They kind of wanted to move forward from that. Balaster Arc seems to be the only bullet spongy boss we have currently, but it seems like they want to move forward and have most of the enemies be mechanics. But I think it's good to have variety. Of course, it's quite boring if all the enemies are just bullet sponges and the bosses don't really differ other than just sinking a load of damage into them. But I think it's also boring when all the bosses require mechanics. They require a little bit of effort. Sometimes I like to just chill and not have to worry too much about mechanics, and some of the strikes like the Feasty and the Restorative Mind can be a little bit difficult if you've got a team who don't know exactly what they're doing. So I think a perfect blend is to have some bosses that are bullet sponges and some bosses that are also mechanics. I think that's the perfect way, and I would love to see the Nexus Mine and Sepix Prime and those guys brought back. So hope you guys have enjoyed this video, a little bit of a discussion about the strikes and what I want to see going forward. Leave your thoughts down below in the comment section, everything you think about these strikes and what I've said so far. Drop a like rating on the video if you enjoyed it, and of course stay tuned right here on the channel for my future videos on the April update. And I'll see you guys on the next one.